Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining. Am I audible, Subrat?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you so much. So, thank you everyone for joining, and we hope to see more devotees joining. And we also welcome all our participants who have joined us through online platform, Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for your association. And so it's 7:48, I guess, or 7:48. So today also we don't have a presenter. So what we can do for next 10-15 minutes before we start our Bhagavad Gita study, we will read a chapter, or maybe whatever we can read from Prabhupāda līlāmrta, Srila Prabhupāda's līlāmrta. It's a wonderful, wonderful compilation of pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, how the movement was started, how much effort he put in. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. So I will share it online. Give me a second. So it is from the volume 1, chapter 36. And the chapter name is In Every Town and Village. Okay. And this Srila Prabhupada līlāmrta is written by His Holiness Sat Swarup Das Goswami. And it is in 2 volumes. And now it's actually it is in 7 volumes now in the latest edition. And it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And a lot of devotees have shared that it's as advanced as reading through Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's the spiritual potency of this compilation. Okay, so chapter 36, In Every Town and Village, London, August 1971. From Florida, this remote corner of the world, Prabhupada returned to New York and after 3 days flew to London. There he became ill. On August 14, he wrote to Tamal Krishna, I am sick here since the last 4 days. There is no sunshine. Almost always there is darkness and rain. So it has affected my health because I'm already rheumatic. Prabhupada said he wanted to retire from traveling and management. This body is old. It is giving warning. But he didn't have sufficient confidence that his leading managers could push on without his pushing them on. So Srila Prabhupada is again instructing that this body is temporary and we should look for the warnings. In spite of all the knowledge, right, we tend to ignore and we keep on thinking that we are never going to get old, or we are never going to leave this body, right? But we should always, even if we don't know the theory, we don't know the philosophy, body still gives us all the warning. Prabhupada complained to his secretary, Shyam Sundar, criticizing him and the other zonal secretaries for not producing and distributing his books on a large scale. Why are there no books? Prabhupada demanded. And Shyam Sundar cringed, unable to give a satisfactory answer. Shyam Sundar said he would immediately write to his godbrothers on the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. So Srila Prabhupada, as a spiritual master, he was setting his disciples right, and asking them tough questions. He has a mission in hand to spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. And distributing and producing these books, these transcendental books, was a big part of it. And he was very serious about it. So a spiritual master is always serious and always on a mission. And he engaged all his disciples into that mission in the service of Krishna. The idea is, the end goal is to distribute these books to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. And we all know how much role these Srila Prabhupada's books have played. So many devotees those books have produced and made. Why have a book trust? Prabhupada argued. What have they done? There is no stock of big books. There are no literatures in foreign languages after years of promises and plans. Why hasn't the unabridged Bhagavad Gita as it is been printed yet? Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the nectar of devotion, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, Shyam Sundar replied, because they. So he was trying to answer. But Srila Prabhupada said, no, it's your responsibility. Prabhupada yelled, why haven't you done it? Prabhupada chastised his GBC secretaries around the world through the one secretary before him. So actually, Srila Prabhupada was just not chastising His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu. He was actually sending the message across to everybody who was supposed to be more serious and more responsible to make sure these books are produced and distributed on time. The GBC's duties were to see that Prabhupada's books were always in stock, that Back to Godhead magazine was being published regularly, that accounts were being paid regularly, and that the devotional life in the temples was healthy. So this was the prime responsibility, one of the prime responsibility of GBCs. Who are GBCs? Who are responsible to carry forward the mission of Srila Prabhupada and manage all around the world. Our business is how to expand. Why? How to introduce Krishna consciousness. It's not like a business where we have to expand, earn more money, more fame, more recognition. The idea is how to introduce Krishna consciousness into educational circles. Let any philosopher, scientist, or educationist come. We have got enough stock. But this sleeping, this leisurely work will not do. They can learn activity from an old man like me because my determination is like this. So determination is the key word here. Not just in success not just for success in material life, but in spiritual life also, determination is the key. We should be determined. Otherwise, we'll keep on fluctuating our consciousness between material world and spiritual world, right? To 2 steps forward, 4 steps backward. If the determination is not strong, because the attraction to material world is very, very strong, very, very strong. We might think that we have a strong mind, we are very strong, but the attraction, the Maya is much, much, much stronger. Maya is nothing but Krishna's energy. If I die working, it is great credit. Just like a marshal, if he dies on the battlefield, it is his credit. Arjuna was told, even if you die, you are still the gainer. So never retire. The point is, never retire in spiritual life. get retired in material life as soon as possible. As soon as possible, plan like that, we can hand over our responsibilities as soon as possible, or we can complete our responsibilities, right? Otherwise, it's like year after year after year, there is no end. Reduce our material desires and create an environment where we can retire early in material life. What? Become more active in spiritual life. This slow process of printing is the most condemned position. So he's how unhappy Srila Prabhupada is, we can see. Over and over he's chastising. Why should I go on translating when you cannot print? You say retire and translate, but why should I translate? No one will ever see it. I can give you volumes. There is Dai Nippon who will print in Japan on credit. So why don't you print? Always it is to be done. It is to be done. That's all. And big man complaining, either he goes or I go. This restlessness, this diversion has to stop. When the father is providing, it is the duty of the son to serve. I'm the father. I'm giving you everything. Why don't you serve me by printing these books? If one book only is read and understood, that is sufficient to make him Krishna conscious. Don't you see how important it is? See the compassion of Srila Prabhupada. All his chastising, all his anger is so that, what is his consciousness? That even if one person, he can read these books and become attracted to Krishna consciousness, what a great fortune it is. What a great contribution it will be, right? In the service of Krishna. So that's why we should not think that, we are making so much effort to spread the movement, or we do festivals, we organize programs, but people don't join us. Manushyanam Sahasranam, out of many thousands of the people, hardly anyone will be interested in Krishna consciousness. But our goal is, our effort is for that one person who will be attracted, right? For good things, there are always less buyers. They're always asking me, is such and such book bona fide? They can't even take the time to read one of my books. And still, they ask for one of my god brother's books. How will things go on? First canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is not even edited or corrected. What to speak of printed? So many books unprinted. So tell them, from the book fund, not a farthing should be for eating. Anyone would like to continue reading this? We have few devotees.
One day, Abhirat, the manager of ISKCON Press, Dai Nippon the negatives for 5 big books. ISKCON Press had also sent a shipment of the German Upanishad to Europe, and other foreign language books were forthcoming. Prabhupada was pleased, and Shyam Sundar informed his GBC godbrothers. Needless to say, this was just the medicine required to treat Prabhupada's slackening faith in us. Things are looking up, but still Prabhupada encourages us all to write up these reports and get a clear all-round picture of the total book situation. Although Prabhupada's health was still weak, he felt heartened to hear that these books were being printed. And he continued with his translation and commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam. Rancher. One night I was up very late, 1 o'clock in the morning. As I came in, I saw that Prabhupada's lights were on and his front room in his front room, and I could hear his voice speaking into the dictating machine. I came upstairs, being as quiet.
Sorry. Yeah. Let me. Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah. I don't know, Prabhuji, where it was. नहीं यहाँ नहीं था.
Yeah, I became frightened, right? No.
No. ऊपर था थोड़ा.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I came up the stairs being as quiet as I possibly could, so Prabhupada wouldn't know that I was up so late. But as I passed his door, I couldn't resist the temptation to just stop and listen for a while. I tried looking through the keynote, but I couldn't see anything. So I just listened to Prabhupada's voice as he was dictating Srimad Bhagavatam. Then all of a sudden he stopped. I supposed he was just thinking about what he was going to say next. But then I got the feeling that he knew I was out there, listening through the door. I became frightened and went up the stairs as quietly as I could. Although the stairs creaked, everyone was asleep, not only the temple, but practically the whole city of London at 1 o'clock in the morning. But Prabhupada was awake and translating. He had been speaking quietly, but with a voice of great strength and determination. All during the day, he was under pressure to organize things and see people. And yet at night, the one time when he could have some peace and quiet, he was up dictating. You want to continue?
Yeah, we can stop here. Thank you so much for reading. So we can see how serious Srila Prabhupada was for books and how much hard work he was doing in spite of his bad health. Every day he had the same schedule of waking up at around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and writing or dictating for few hours, because his day was fully packed with for preaching, for traveling, for responding to his disciples and whatnot. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we will go to our next part of the program, and few devotees are traveling and few devotees are not available today. I got the messages. So thank you everyone who sent the messages about their availability. But we can still go ahead and start our Bhagavad Gita reading from the verse. Let me see. We are on chapter 6. We'll start with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we all once again we welcome all the devotees who have joined us online through the Zoom session, through Facebook and YouTube. We welcome you all. So we'll proceed with our text number, I believe, 24. Chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, verse number 24. So with the permission and blessings of our Guru Parampara, we'll try to understand these wonderful verses from Bhagavad Gita, and we'll pray that we can understand these verses and it will help us in further progress in our devotional services. Hare Krishna. Verse number 24. Sa nishchayena yoktavyo yoga nirvana chetasaha sankalpa prabhavan kamam sa tyaktva sharvam asheshataha manasavendriya gramam vinayamya samantataha. Anyone would like to repeat? Suvrat Bhavya Achyut.
Sanitayena yuktavyo yoga nirvena chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvan ashetaha manasavindriya gramam vinim amya samanta.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Na.
Okay. So synonyms, word to word, meaning saha, that, nishchayena, with firm determination, yuktavyaha, must be practiced, yoga, yoga system, anivrinna chetasaha, without deviation, sankalpa, mental speculations, prabhavan, born of, kaman, material desires, tyaktva, giving up, sarvan, all, asheshtaha, completely, manasa, by the mind, ev, certainly, indriya gramam, the full set of senses, viniyamaya, regulating, samantata, from all sides. Translation: one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith. Keywords of this verse, and very, very important two words in our devotion life: determination and faith, and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides of the mind. So we really understand this verse. It says everything that is part of our sadhana, our effort in devotional life. for a yogi, for a sadhak. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Anyone would like to read the purport?
Yeah, I can read it. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not be discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha nishaya dharya tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vrita sadbhe bhakti prashadyati. One can execute the process of Bhakti Yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees and by engaging completely in activities of goodness. Upadeshamrit 3. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
As for determination, one should follow the example of the sparrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. A sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its waves. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal, so the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out the water in her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for impossible determination. The news of her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate towards his small sister bird, and so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this and returned the eggs. Thus the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga and Krishna consciousness, may appear to be a very difficult job, but if anyone follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help, for God helps those who help themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sumit. So, like I said, two important words in this verse. So what exactly is happening? Where are we? So we have been talking about the qualities of a perfect yogi who is becoming advanced in his sadhana. For us, the teachings, although this chapter is mostly directed towards Ashtanga yogi, but the way Srila Prabhupada has translated or given the purports, because Krishna himself says that this Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga is very difficult. And we all know in this Kali Yuga how fallen we are, that we can't even focus on one thing. So, and there are a lot of niyams, a lot of principles, a lot of regulations to follow the process of Ashtanga Yoga. And ultimately the goal of Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga is, what is the goal? Is to meditate on Krishna. After all that big efforts that we have been talking about in this chapter, the ultimate aim is to realize Krishna. First we realize ourselves and then we realize Krishna. But by Bhakti Yoga, it can be achieved. The same thing can be achieved, same goal can be achieved rather easily, right? And especially in this Kali Yoga. So that's the background, right? So we have been talking about how is this journey going to be for a sadhaka. So very important two things that we need when we are in the path of spiritual practice, in the path of Krishna consciousness, is determination and faith. If we don't have faith, it won't be long before we will give up. And determination. So Srila Prabhupada is quoting this verse from Updeshamrit, which is the foundation of Bhakti. It's a verse number 3. And Srila Gurudev, he quotes this verse many times, all the time actually. Utsaha nishya dharya tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vritteh sadbhir bhakti prashiddhyati. So one can execute the process of Bhakti Yoga successfully when it is a full-hearted. So when whatever our Goswamis, our acharyas are writing, it's not a mundane writing. These are transcendental, divya writings. So the point is that I'm trying to make here is each and every word has a meaning. It's just not like we are reading an English book where some words have been, fixed to complete the sentence. See how Srila Rupa Goswami is encompassing everything here. The process of Bhakti Yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, not half-hearted. Perseverance, full-hearted perseverance, and full-hearted determination, right? So it should be with full heart. And by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees, right? So he's actually giving the whole package that we have to be very, very enthusiastic, very, very persevere, and very determined. And we have to also follow the prescribed duties. Not like man ki man mani, like whatever I feel I will do, the way I will feel I will do. Although this is written in the scriptures, has been told by my Guru Maharaj or my seniors, but no, I don't like it, so I will not do it. No, all the prescribed duties. That is the meaning of prescribed, which is coming in the parampara. In the association of devotees. Without the association of devotees, it's not a seva. Because serving the Lord means serving the devotees also. Without serving the devotees, and the direct service to Lord is not that pleasing to Lord. What is more pleasing to Lord is serving through his devotees, serving with his devotees. He wants everyone to come together and serve him. And by engaging completely in the activities of goodness. So whenever we do anything, we should check whether we are in the mode of goodness or passion or ignorance. So more and more we will check ourselves, each and every activity. We should remind ourselves every day. Even let's say if somebody is going to office, right? Right now, am I anxious? Am I fearful? Am I afraid? Right? Am I very passionate? Or am I in the mode of goodness? So more and more checks we will do every day in as many times, more and more Krishna conscious we will become. That's the practical part of this verse. And the example given here is this example of sparrow, just like Surat read, how she was determined to get back her eggs from the ocean. And looking at her determination, right? Even Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, he came to help her. So now all this, why we are doing this? Determination, faith, because ultimately the end goal is happiness. Anything we are doing is for happiness. And as Krishna conscious sadhakas, right? We are trying to become a devotee of Krishna because we have understood only that can give us the true happiness, eternal happiness, right? At least we all have this understanding. So we are on the same page there. So now we are getting more and more advanced, right? We are trying to become more advanced. Basic understanding is there. So we are trying to become better sadhaka, better yogi. So in this particular section, this verse and the next verse, Krishna is talking about how one can become yoga arud stage. How can one become or come into state of yoga arud, meaning more advanced, more perfect in his yoga practices. So the two recipes are enthusiasm and determination. Now, what exactly is the meaning of determination? Like Hindi, we say nishchay, right? We should have a very, very strong nishchay. But it also means to continue in our path with patience, dharya, and perseverance. Because why this warning or why this particular recipe is there, that we should have determination, patience, perseverance. Why can't we just, we are doing bhakti, we are doing everyday arti, we are listening to kirtan, bhajans, right? Because Krishna knows, he's advising, as he knows, there will be obstacles and setbacks on this path. The more we try to progress, there will be more obstacles and setbacks. Because what we have to understand is we are coming from lifetimes of anarthas, an old baggage with us, right? So, and we have a fight with Maya, right? So Krishna wants to make sure that we are purified enough. It won't be an easy journey, right? Of course, bhakti is simple, easy, but becoming a pure devotee, performing pure devotional service is not an easy ride. Nothing comes free. Let's put it that way. We have to pay the price. But if you think we can keep on enjoying both the worlds, right, material and spiritual worlds, that will not help us. That will not work. So anyway, so Krishna is advising because he knows there will be obstacles and setbacks on the path. So we have to be very patient. Not like, oh, I'm going to temple or I'm going to this congregation. Things are not as per me or as per what I think. So I will leave Krishna consciousness, or I will leave the congregation, I will leave the temple. No, because it takes time. It takes some time for even us to understand the process of bhakti. None of us are pure, none of us are perfect. So our understanding is also not perfect, right? So Srila Prabhupada used to give a very, very nice example of a girl who just got married. So a girl who just got married, she cannot expect a child, to bear a child right away. It will happen, but it will take time. It will take patience. It will take some effort. It will take some caring. Similarly, as we try to advance in Krishna consciousness, it will not happen overnight. Sometimes just because we want to race and we want to move too fast, a lot of problems come, and then we become very demotivated. And other thing mentioned here is sankalpa, right? Let's mental speculations. So the point here Krishna is making is we should not perform our practices based on our mental speculations. It should be based on rules and regulations which are given in the scriptures. So there is a nice verse also, I think. Well, as we start following rules and regulations strictly, Krishna gives us that intelligence also. Krishna says, Tesham satat yuktanam bhachitam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yen map upyanti te. So what does it mean? Krishna is saying, and who is constantly, without any deviation, who is doing my bhajan, who is serving me with love, meaning with full heart, determination, full-hearted faith. To such a person, I give buddhi yoga. I give intelligence to how to follow these rules and regulations. So on our own, we don't have any capacity to perform bhakti. But seeing our determination, that's why this determination and faith is very important. Seeing the degree of our determination and faith, Krishna will give us that intelligence. Right now, this our subtle body, which is composed of mind, intelligence, and false ego, it is covered. It is not in the pure state. But as we start making more and more intelligent, more and more determined effort, Krishna will help us clear those coverings. Okay. So we'll go ahead in the next verse is pretty much the same points. It says, Shanehi shaner upramed buddhya dhriti gritaya atma sansthatam manaha kritva na kinchidapi chintayet. That gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. So here, Krishna is saying gradually. Don't expect overnight transformation. Slowly and slowly one should progress. And the key component here is to bring the mind, to fix the mind. Mind is the most fluctuating factor. Mind is the cause of all miseries. Like in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bharat Maharaj, Jad Bharat Maharaj, he instructs Rahuguna, King Rahuguna, that all these miseries are creation of our mind, are due to our mind. So the key component, the key factor here is to bring back our mind, to control our mind, right? Now, how to control our mind? There are so many mind control techniques in the material world these days, but none of them actually work. People go to so many workshops, so many seminars to control mind, but nothing works unless we give. So controlling mind is impossible unless we give mind something else to do, something higher, right? So we have to give higher taste to our mind. That's the only way to control it. We have to engage it into higher taste activities. Then automatically mind will not get attached to lower taste. So there is a subtle difference, right? So mind, intelligence, false ego. Soul is always pure. So soul is never contaminated. But because of impurities which are covering our mind, intelligence, and false ego, soul is not able to manifest. Our Krishna consciousness is still covered, is dormant. So the purification of mind is very, very important. So how to understand mind? We can just consider, we can visualize mind is like a secretary in an office, right? Let's say you enter into office. So most of the offices, they have a front desk. There is a secretary sitting over there. What is the job of the secretary? He or she receives the inputs, meaning some mails are coming, phone calls are coming, right? Somebody is walking by and asking for appointments or getting some information. So the only job of the secretary is to receive the information, right? Letters, mails, packages, phone calls. But that secretary doesn't make any decisions, right? It will just forward it to the concerned person or his or her authority. So our authority should be our intelligence. But the problem is that as in our conditioned state, we have given so much power to our mind that our intelligence has subdued. So it's like secretary making the decisions. Okay, this mail, based on this, take this action, right? But that is not the job of secretary. So what we need to do, we have to remind ourselves, or we should remind our mind that you are not the boss. You are not the boss, right? Whenever some thoughts comes, we should also always check whether it is mind or is it our intelligence, right? So we, at least when we start monitoring the thoughts, and it's also practice, it will not happen overnight. Then we can slowly control the mind. So I was listening to a katha, and Prabhuji was saying that we should never neglect purification of mind. And for that, what we do? That's why we chant. The more and more we chant, our mind becomes peaceful, and our intelligence it progresses. So one of the effect of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is peaceful mind. Right now, our mind is very, very chanchal, very, very aggressive, very dynamic. But when we are focused on our process of chanting, so that's why we should not chant casually, or not chant while watching TV or while doing something else. We should chant. We should give our time to chanting, a fixed time to chanting, and then automatically our mind will become more and more stable. more peaceful. So only rule in chanting is, what is the rule in chanting? We can chant anytime, but keep on chanting more and more, right? Initially, we'll see our mind is there, right? Is not there. We will feel like, oh, I was not focusing on my chanting. But the remedy is still keep on chanting, right? If we think, oh, first I have to control my mind, I have to make it peaceful, and then I will chant, it will never happen. So the remedy to our chanchal mind is also keep on chanting. The more we will chant, the holy name will eventually manifest itself, because it is none different from Krishna. And automatically it will start detaching us from this world. The mind is what is causing our attachment to this sansar, this world. But the more and more we chant, these are not ordinary words, these are transcendental sound. Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtana. This Sankirtan, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, these names of Krishna have appeared directly from Goloka. So they have the potency. They are not different from Krishna. They are as powerful as Krishna. So whether our mind is there or not, we should still keep on chanting. We should not get discouraged. Please feel free to stop me or add any point at any time you feel like. Otherwise, I will keep on going. Next verse. So in the before going to the next verse, there are a couple of good points in the purport. In other words, although one is involved with matter as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada is actually comparing here that in the path of Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, there are stages, right? Dhyan, Dharana, Pratyahar, Ahar, all these. Samadhi. What is the idea? What is the goal? The goal is to experience transcendental pleasure, right? So Srila Prabhupada is saying that pleasure can be easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. So that's why, because in Krishna consciousness, in bhakti, right from day one, what are we told? What are we taught? To perform devotional service. Serve Krishna, serve devotees. And anything you are doing it, do it for Krishna, right? So right from the beginning, directly we are able to experience Krishna consciousness, which is the end goal of all those stages of Ashtanga Yoga anyway. Okay. Next verse. Yato yato nischalti manas chanchalam asthiram tatas tato nityameted tatas tato niyameted atmani eva vasam nayet. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. We already discussed this point. A self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. The one who controls the mind is called Goswami. So Goswami is just not a title, right? We see so many Goswamis in the world today. They put Goswami after their word. Goswami or Swami is just not a title. The actual meaning is that anyone who controls the mind, he is a Goswami. He could be sannyasi, he could be grahastha, he could be anybody. If he is able to control his senses and mind, especially, he is Goswami. But one who is under the control of his mind, he is called Godas, the servant of the senses, right? So we have to decide ourselves who we are, and we should aim toward becoming Goswami. Why? Not to just earn a title, but to please Krishna. Because once we are not the servant of our senses, automatically we become servant of Krishna. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Krishna, the service of Rishikesh, the supreme owner of the senses. Krishna, serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. So this is the definition of Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bhavna. Serving Krishna with purified senses, right? So we are trying to serve Krishna, right, every day. So we should not be satisfied, because until we serve Krishna with purified senses, we will not be fully Krishna consciousness. So every day we should try to progress. We should increase the quality of our devotional service. That is the way to bring the senses under full control. This is the highest perfection of yoga practice. So in the last Saturday or last Friday, we were discussing how to engage our senses, how to control our senses and mind. We were discussing the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, how Amrish Maharaj, he used to engage all his senses in the service of Krishna. We discussed in length last time. Because see what happens, forcing the mind will never work. But we have to engage it in higher taste. Any questions, any points anyone would like to make? And there is a nice pastime actually I recently heard of Lord Jagannath. So there used to be a devotee called with the name Dasya Boru in near Puri. There was a village, and this devotee Dasya Boru, he had a darshan of Lord Jagannath once. He saw the Vigraha of Lord Jagannath, and especially he got attracted to Jagannath's big eyes. So what are the colors when we see Jagannath? What are the colors in his eyes? How many colors are there? Anyone knows? Let's visualize. We are taking darshan of Lord Jagannath, and let's from his face, of course, from the lotus feet we go up, and we are taking darshan of Lord Jagannath's face. So let's close our eyes and start seeing the face of Lord Jagannath, and then let's focus on his eyes. How many colors do we see in his eyes? Any guess? Am I audible? Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Okay, so any guess on how many colors do we see in Lord Jagannath's eyes? At least one, we can say.
2,
Name the
3,
color.
3.
Name the color.
Three.
What are those colors?
Blue, white, black.
Black.
Red, white, and black.
Who said red, white, and black? Who said that?
Akhilesh.
Akhilesh Prabhu ki jai. Perfect. Right. So 3 colors. Right. Red, white, and black. So he got so much attracted to those Jagannath's eyes that wherever he used to see these 3 colors, red, black, and white, he used to think of Jagannath. He got so enchanted. His mind was fully into meditation of his eyes. So once he was very tired, and he requested his wife to give him some food, some prasadam. So his wife brought a full plate. It was a red plate, full of white rice, and there was some spinach on top of it. But because it was little not a fresh spinach, it became dark color, kind of little blackish. So what color he saw? Combination red, black, and white again. And although he was so much tired, in ecstasy he stood up and just started dancing for hours and hours. So that is how a perfect yogi, a perfect sadhak, a perfect devotee, he loses consciousness of his body, and he will always and loses consciousness of his senses because he has become a Goswami. So although he was feeling some hunger a few minutes back, as soon as he saw those colors, again the remembrance of Lord Jagannath's beautiful eyes came in his mind, and he started dancing in ecstasy. So okay, so anyone's why? So let's say there is a question: why are there eyelids on Lord Jagannath's eyes? Are there any eyelids?
No eyelids.
No eyelids, right? And why? Well, what does that symbolizes?
I think he always wants to see his devotees.
Yes, yes. So there are no eyelids because Lord Jagannath, and it's wide open all the time because he's always looking out for his devotees. And he's so merciful that he is trying to make his eyes bigger and bigger, because in spite of all our shortcomings and anarthas, he's trying to find one good thing that we might have done so that he can give us mercy, so that we can become adhikari of his mercy, and not from just lifetime. He's scanning us from millions of lifetimes. He's scanning us our millions of lifetimes and just trying to look for one good thing that we might have done. We might have served some devotee knowingly or unknowingly. We might have ate a particle of prasadam, maybe. Maybe we were in other species like a reptile, or who knows what species we were in. But by some sadhu might have dropped some prasadam and we might have ate it, or we might have served somebody, helped somebody in bhakti, or we might have chanted the names of Krishna by mistake or knowingly or unknowingly. So his eyes are becoming bigger and bigger. That's the feeling we should have when we take his darshan, because that's the bhav of Jagannath. He's making his eyes bigger and bigger and scanning all our lifetimes and looking for one good thing, so that he become adhikari of his mercy. Similarly, when we go to Ranganath, his eyes are closed. In Ranganath, Lord's eyes are closed because he's ignoring all our anarthas, all our shortcomings. He doesn't care about that. So beautiful bhav Lord has. Similarly, we should have this bhav, and we should try to cultivate it. Of course, as a authority, as a guru, we have to instruct, and as a parent also, we have to instruct our kids. We can't just close our eyes. But the point is that it should be out of love. Our correction should be out of love. Okay, so beautiful pastime of Dasya Bauri, that how he used to always think of Krishna's eyes. Next verse. Prashanta manasam hi enam yoginam sukham uttamam upeti shant rajasam brahma bhutam akalamasham. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me, verily, meaning 100%, he will attain the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reaction to past deeds. So this is talking about the state of Brahma Bhuta. And what is this state? Krishna is talking about the symptoms of a yogi, a sadhak who is at the Brahma Bhuta stage. What is the meaning of Brahma Bhuta? Anyone knows? So Brahma Bhuta is someone who has realized Atma, who has realized that he is this soul. So we can see realizing ourselves as soul is a very, very advanced stage. And by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, our acharyas, every day, the more we hear to Srila Prabhupada, every day, he reminds us, who are we? And that's why very, very important to hear Srila Prabhupada every day. Every day we must hear Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, I mean, all kathas are good, all Bhagavatam kathas are good, all Bhagavad Gita kathas are good. But Srila Prabhupada has given us the foundation of our spiritual life. Unless and until we realize that we are soul, it might be very boring to keep hearing the same thing again and again. Once a devotee asked Guru Maharaj, Maharaj, kuch naya sunaiye. Guru Maharaj is replica of Srila Prabhupada. His style is always first talking about Atma, Paramatma, Krishna, what is our relationship, and then he starts from there. So devotee asked him, please kuch naya sunaiye. Atma, Paramatma to roji sunte hain. So Guru Maharaj said, have you, even if you are listening every day, have you realized that? If you have not realized, there is no point going forward, because that is the foundation of our spiritual life. We will not be able to serve Krishna properly or devotees properly unless we work on. So again, it will not happen overnight, right? Agreed. But every day we have to make effort. So in one of the techniques that somebody was telling me, we should write everywhere, I am soul, I am soul, I am soul, or whatever works out for us. But the best thing we can do is to hear Srila Prabhupada every day. And he will, without fail, it could be his Chaitanya Charitamrita advanced lecture, it could be his Srimad Bhagavatam lecture, it could be his Bhagavad Gita lecture, or just a conversation. At least once he will remind us, who are we? And that's very, very important. So Brahma Bhuta state, right? And we can see in chapter 6, almost 1/3 of the Bhagavad Gita is over, and Krishna is now talking about Brahma Bhuta state, realizing Atma. And that is what is called as self-realization. The science of self-realization is nothing but understanding and realizing that who we are. So sometimes devotees usually ask, how to know that we are progressing? The answer to that question is in this verse. If we see very, very closely, if we want to measure our progress, how are we doing in our bhakti, in our consciousness, in our Krishna consciousness? How? Because the answer is here in the sense that such a person is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and he is freed from all reactions. So let's see if we can go to this verse. Mad bhaktim labhate param. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochate na kankshati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. This is the recipe to become fully joyful, that all of us are looking for, that eternal happiness. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living thing. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So in this Brahma Bhuta state, he attains pure devotion. Until we start realizing and understanding and practicing at the level of soul consciousness, our devotional service will not be pure. Okay. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Save manaha Krishna padar vindeyo. That verse we discussed last time in the Amrish Maharaj pastime. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from mode of passion and all material contamination. Answer is given here. How to be in Krishna consciousness, or how to be, how to be not in the mode of passion or mode of ignorance. The answer is that let's not control our mind. What we do, we start engaging our mind and senses in the service of Lord or Krishna consciousness. We become Krishna consciousness. Automatically our mode of passion and mode of ignorance will come down. So there are a few more notes I made here. Shantaha Rajsam free passion. Okay. Yeah, so we already covered it actually. We can go to the next verse. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi vigat kalmashaha sukhena brahma samparsham atyantam sukham and ashnute. Thus the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Okay. So in last verse, we saw Brahma Bhuta state, realizing ourselves as Atma, soul. In this verse, Krishna is, in short, he's telling the symptoms of a devotee who is Brahma Samparsha, who at the stage of Brahm Samparsha. This one who is in constant touch with the Supreme. So in short, in the previous verse, we become realized of our soul, that we are the soul. In this verse, Krishna is saying, and then more advanced devotee, he realizes Paramatma also. What is the meaning of realizing Paramatma? We can say we realize Paramatma, right? We know Paramatma is in our heart. We can say that. So I'm just trying to look for more understanding. Otherwise, it will be just, we read and we just forgot. So let's try to sink this understanding into our heart and minds. What is the meaning of realizing Paramatma? Any answers? Realizing Paramatma means understanding that we are his servants. Otherwise, what is the point of realizing? So in short, Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas. So what we realize, that our Swarup, our eternal form, is servant of Krishna. That is the meaning of realizing Paramatma. And such a person, such a devotee, achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness. So again, we are talking about happiness because actually this is the end goal. Whether we agree or not, we can talk about ideal things, very, very idealistic things, very, very perfect things that, I'm looking for love of Krishna. But why? Because we want to be happy ultimately, right? Because, or I'm looking, if some person is materialistic, he will talk about money, fame, some other thing. Even in devotion, in our unpurified state, people look for so many things. I'm a big devotee. I'm this, I'm that. I'm doing so many rounds. I'm doing so much study. I'm I do this much service and all that, right? Even that is present there, right? But the real happiness is what? So in Bhagavatam, there is a very, very nice verse which describes that happiness can be classified into 4 categories. What are those 4 categories? Let me go to that verse actually. Because if happiness is our end goal, we should know what is happiness. We should understand it. So it is in 11, I think, in the chapter where Krishna is instructing, he keeps instructing Uddhava Maharaj, chapter 11, Canto 11, chapter 25. And Krishna still keeps on instructing Uddhava Maharaj here. And the verse number is 29, happiness. Satvikam sukham atmotham vishyottham tu rajasam tamasam moha danyotham nirgunam madapashriyam. Happiness derived from the self is in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance. 3 types are there, and the 4th type is, but that happiness found within me is transcendental. So even in the mode of goodness is not the most pure form. The most pure form of happiness is transcendental. It is nirguna. So the 4 types of happiness being described by Shri Krishna in Bhagavatam when he is instructing Uddhava Maharaj is tamasic happiness, rajasic happiness, sattvic happiness, and nirguna happiness. So let's understand this quickly. Tamasic happiness, something like, somebody getting pleasure from alcohol, drugs, meat products, or from violence, or just sleeping, right? Somebody gets person like me like to sleep a lot. So that is tamasic happiness. Rajasic happiness, the pleasure that is arrived from the gratification of 5 senses and mind. Very active, very passionate, very ambitious to achieve things in the material world. That is, so people achieve something and they have very, they get so much joy out of it. Oh, promotion or meeting a target, sales target, right? And then they want to enjoy their vacations, that money, that is Rajasic happiness. Again, whether it is Tamasic or Rajasic, that is very, very short-lived. It is not eternal. Then the Sattvic happiness, which is when anyone would like to give the example of Sattvic happiness? When we will get, or when we get some kind of, Sattvic happiness, what kind of activities? Please unmute yourself and participate.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Charity.
Hare Krishna, yes, charity. Anyone else? Like charity, service to others, being compassionate to others, cultivation of knowledge. Which knowledge? Transcendental knowledge, right? Or any good knowledge, or even meditation, stilling the mind, right? Making our mind more peaceful. So this is the kind of happiness or self-realization achieved by or experienced by jnanis. They stabilize the mind on the soul. So, and the topmost is, highest is nirguna happiness. This is the divine bliss of God, which is infinite. So Krishna explains that the yogi who becomes free from material contamination and becomes united with God attains the highest state of perfect happiness. So that happiness is this nirguna happiness. The topmost happiness is only available when we become free of our all material contaminations and we become one with God. Becoming one with God means we realize that we are his part and parcel and we start serving him. That's all. Becoming one with God doesn't mean we merge in the Brahma Jyoti or some light. Becoming one with God means becoming one with Krishna, meaning start serving him. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm covering a lot of verses because we want to go to the Bhakti Yoga section of Bhagavad Gita as soon as possible. But nevertheless, these verses are very, very important. Once we understand these verses, we will never get deviated from path. That's why chapter 6 is also very, very important. Anyone would like to read the next verse, 29? Very, very important verse.
Yeah, I can read.
Yeah, please.
सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः.
Thank you. A true yogi observes me in all beings. So this is going to be one of the most important words and most complicated, least understood, or most misunderstood words. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. So big purport. So we'll take points. A Krishna conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as super soul. Ishvaraha, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita 18:61. Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam hirdeshu arjuna tishtati Brahmyam sarvabhutani yantra arudhani mayayaha. Now, the meaning of, so there are two things here. Krishna is saying two things. Again, reminder, this is being said by Krishna himself. But Krishna is saying two things, that yogi, perfect yogi, he sees me in all beings and also he sees every being in me. So what it means in short, in very, very easy way, it means such a perfect devotee, advanced devotee, pure devotee, he sees everyone as part and parcel of Shri Krishna. And he sees Lord, it means, also means he sees Lord Krishna in everyone's heart as Paramatma. He's able to see that. He is able to realize that Paramatma, right now we are just saying, we are not, or at least I'm not able to realize, right? If I meet somebody, I have to bring my mind back to that consciousness that Krishna is also within him. But naturally, I'm not pure enough, right? But the meaning is that such an advanced devotee, he sees Krishna in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and he also understands that everyone is part and parcel of Shri Krishna. So let's try to increase that understanding. There is another verse in Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sarvasya chaham hridi sanavishto mattah smritir jnanam apoham hanamcha. And I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So Krishna as Paramatma sitting in our heart, he actually, all the memory, all the remembrance, all the forgetfulness, it is happening by Krishna. It is happening by Krishna. Now, to understand this, let me share a picture here. So this concept is normally not very well understood. So when Krishna is saying that he is in everyone, in every living entity, so we all know, or I hope everyone remember, we have discussed this so many times. Lord Krishna, he actually expands himself into three super souls. We'll see who are those three super souls. The number one is Mahavishnu. The right picture, right, this small box picture, Mahavishnu is lying on the Karnodakshai ocean, right? Mahavishnu, Karnodakshai Vishnu. He is the super soul of all the universe, the entire material creation. Because entire material creation manifests from him. all the universes, all this material creation is within the body of Mahavishnu. It's coming out. Okay. And then second expansion as super soul is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Here, bottom, we see. This Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of all the planetary systems within the universe. Okay. All the living entities, all the planetary systems are within the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu within a universe. So in each universe, we have one Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Now the third expansion is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who is super soul in every living entity, in every universe, in every atom. So usually when we say super soul Paramatma, we refer to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But what we have to also understand that the meaning of this verse, that Krishna is in everything and everything is in Krishna, is that he is the super soul of the whole creation, of the whole material world. As Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu, he is the super soul of everything within the universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, he is in every living entity, every universe, every atom. Now, so it means the Lord is in everyone and everything. The whole, he is expanded into everything, right? So seeing every being in me means everyone and everything is dependent on the Lord. I will repeat. When we say that devotee, such a perfect devotee, he sees everybody in Krishna, meaning he sees that everything, his vision is everything is dependent on Krishna for their maintenance and sustenance. So we can take an example to understand it better. During Diwali time in India, all of us must have seen this people who sell these sugar candies. And they sell these sugar candies in various forms, cars, aeroplanes, even some models like, some person, animals, balls, some toys. And children will fight with, and they will demand parents that I want car, the other will say, I want elephant, I want this toy made of the same sugar candy. And the parents will just, they will smile that they're very innocent, kids are very innocent. But the parent has this understanding that although kids are fighting over what they will want to have, actually they are made of same sugar candy and all are equally sweet, right? No matter somebody gets that shape in the form of car, the sugar candy in the form of car or a toy or whatever, the taste is going to be same, and it is made of the same sugar ingredient. Similarly, the ingredient of everything that exists is God himself, Krishna himself, in the form of various energies that we see in different forms and different shape. I hope I'm making this point clear because it's very, very important. If not, please ask question. I can repeat also. Another way to understand is just like the sun. While sun is at one place, it spreads light everywhere, all over the planet. Similarly, Krishna, through his various energies, he is, pervading and he's spreading, he's maintaining everything that exists. And this is the vision of a perfect yogi, meaning they understand this fact. That is the meaning of this verse. So if I have to say in one line, or if we have to understand in one line, seeing Krishna everywhere means being always Krishna consciousness. See Krishna's presence, his hand in everything. Whether the situation is good or bad from our perspective, we should always see Krishna's hand in everything. Okay. I will probably take a couple of minutes more. the next verse says 30, the one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor he is ever lost to me. What it means? One who see me everywhere. Now, how can one see Krishna everywhere? How can we see somebody everywhere? We can see everywhere, somebody everywhere when we have unlimited love for that person. Unless we have love for somebody, we will not see, just like a boy and a girl who love each other, right? When they are in that loving relationship, their consciousness will be always, thinking about each other, right? Even if they're, let's say, in a restaurant with friends, they will think about the other person whom they love, and wish that that person was with them instead of their friends or parents, right? That's the consciousness they have. So in short, in their consciousness is filled with that person. So the subtle point here is that unless we will not be able to reach to this stage, this advanced stage, unless we have developed enough love for Krishna, unlimited love for Krishna. But unlimited meaning that all the time we are thinking about Krishna. But the problem is that I am never lost. Meaning Krishna is saying I am never lost for such a person. So Krishna is always connected with us anyway. He is always, he has never left us alone. But the problem is that we have turned our back towards him. We have disconnected that connection, right? So by the process of bhakti, by chanting Hare Krishna, Maha Mantra, by association of devotees, everything we are doing, we are trying to re-establish that connection. And what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here, a beautiful verse. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena shantaha sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintaya Gun Swarupam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. It's a beautiful verse from Brahma Samhita. I worship that Govinda, Lord, who is always seen by the devotees whose eyes are anointed with pulp of love. So here, the essence of this verse is that Krishna, who is in his Shyam Sundar form, Natvar, Murlidhar, Tribhang form, it is a transcendental form and is visible with the eyes. It is visible to whom? To those who are anointed with the pulp of love. Because the more advanced our consciousness is, the more love we have developed for Krishna, automatically we will start visualizing that, or we would start thinking about that form of Krishna. So it's again, this verse is beyond my capacity. I'm just trying to read it and try to bring up some points. Very, very high stage of devotion. Because if you remember the past time when Krishna goes to Mathura on the invitation of his uncle Kansa with Balramji and some Brajvasis, Nanda Maharaj, what happened there? In the Rangabhumi, when Krishna entered, so it's, think about like a big stadium. In the middle, there is a Rangabhumi where there's going to be a wrestling match between Krishna, Balram, and Kansa's wrestlers, and eventually Kansa himself. And on the circle, the whole audience, even the Brajvasis who went with Krishna, and also the residents of Mathura, they are sitting. So as soon as Krishna Balram entered the arena, everyone sitting there, they start looking at them as per their bhava, as per their degree of affection and love. So the elderly ladies who used to love Krishna as child, as a they start seeing as a beautiful boy, and they start crying, thinking about how this small boy, a soft boy, will fight with these wrestlers. So they started praying, right? May Lord protect him. And his go friends, they start seeing him as somebody, who can kill Kamsa or the wrestlers, a strong boy. The young ladies who had the Madhuri Bhav, they start seeing him as Kamadev. So it's the same Krishna and Balram, but everyone, the point is that everyone sitting there, they start looking at them, or they had the darshan of Krishna in their bhav, whatever bhav they had. So the form of Krishna that is visible to us, to our eyes, is in proportion to the purification we have achieved by practice of devotion. That's why sadhana bhakti is very important. We cannot jump to bhava bhakti directly. Sadhana bhakti, by practice of sadhana bhakti, we purify our mind, our senses, and then the divine love for Krishna manifests. And the most potent way to do that is, for our sadhana, is keep chanting. Chant the names of Krishna every day. This is the process for Kali Yuga. We can keep repeating big things, but the foundation of all the processes is chanting. Kali Kale Naam Rupe Krishna Avatar, Naam Haite Hai Sarva Jagat Nishtar. The age of Kali, Naam, Krishna has appeared as Naam, his names. And when we chant the names of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Naam Haite Hai Sarva Jagat Nishtar. Simply by chanting this holy name, we associate with Krishna directly. And anyone who does this, anyone who chants these names, he will be delivered. He will attain the love of Godhead, eventually, guaranteed. It's just a matter of time. Everyone who is chanting the names of Krishna without any doubt, with full guaranteed by Acharya, it's not my guarantee, our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, all our Acharyas, all our Goswamis, and you name any sampradaya, everybody is guaranteeing that. It's just a matter of time that we are away from that love of Krishna. And we are not too much far. I mean, even if we see, we have definitely developed some love for Krishna. So we are on the right track. We should be always very, very enthusiastic, like we discussed in the first word, Utsaha Nishcha Dhairyat. Very, very enthusiastic. So in this age of Kali, this is the process. Krishna has descended in the form of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we should try to chant offenselessly. So if we chant offenselessly, without any Seva Aparad, without any Vaishnava Aparad, without any Nam Aparad, then Ram and Krishna are in front of us. When we see this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or when we chant, when we hear, they are with us. They are not far away. So when we can realize this, as per our acharyas, we can realize this when we have become offenseless. So that's why, there's one more very important point is, that's why people who are like Kansa in this age, they're very much afraid of this Hare Krishna movement. And there is so much obstacles. And they're very much afraid that this movement is being accepted by so many young people also, young generation also. But we should not get discouraged. Krishna can, just like Krishna could not be killed by Kansa, this movement cannot be checked by these people who want to stop it or who are not in favor of it. The only thing we have to do is we should guide our children, our youth, and we should always try to engage them in devotional service. And one of the best ways is to encourage them to chant the names of Krishna. And we get together, we do some kirtana, they like it, they love it. That's a very, very practical way to engage our young minds. That is our responsibility to encourage them. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover today. We completed until I think 30, 38th verse. So any questions, any comments, any additions, anything if I have misspoken, I apologize. But anything, if you might have liked, you can repeat it here so that everyone can be reminded and we all can try to follow through next week. Anything you would like to add or correct, please feel free to unmute yourself and we can hear from you for a minute or two. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can you explain Mahatattva?
What is that?
Mahatattva, can you explain? It's a Hindi word, but can you explain?
Mahatattva. Where do
Yeah.
you see the reference to that?
I mean, not here, but I mean, so many places like I heard this word. So can you explain?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So let's see if anyone has anything related to today's discussion and then we can go to Mahatattva. Anyone else, any comments, any questions regarding what we discussed today? Okay, if not. So Mahatattva is actually one of the material, it is discussed in the creation of universe portion in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So there is a verse also in Bhagavad Gita, I believe, Sarva Yonishu, let me find out. (14.4). Yeah. Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavanti Yaha Tasa Brahma Mahat Yonihi Aham Bij Pradhapita. Krishna is saying it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. The term Mahat Yonihi, source of birth in the material substance. So Krishna says that he is the original father, right? Seed-giving father. The living entities are combinations of material nature and spiritual nature, right? Because living entities are marginal. They are neither spiritual nor material. They are marginal. They can fall anywhere based on their propensity. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet, but on every planet, even on the highest, where Brahma is situated. Okay. So Mahat Tattva is, let me go back to that picture of a structured universe. Yeah. So in the top, with like Garbhodaksha Vishnu, before that, there is causal ocean, right? So where Lord Narayan, in the form of Mahavishnu, he's lying on the causal ocean. And when he glances on the material nature, Mahat Tattva is produced. And that causes the creation, the material creation. So in a very, very high level. And then comes the discussion about 24 elements that creates the whole material creation. But originally, when all of us must have heard that Krishna or Lord Mahavishnu, he glances over the material nature, right? So that produces Mahat Tattva. And from there, the whole creation starts. And then comes the Sankhya Yoga and all that. Discussion is a long discussion. But in short, that is the Mahat Tattva.
Mahat Tattva, okay.
Yeah, it is confusing otherwise because so many descriptions are given.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So we can say this sky, right, that is covered with Mahat Tattva, and that through other elements and then sub-elements, secondary creation, the whole creation happens.
Mm-hmm. So it is before the all Vishnu Tattva, I mean Purusha Avatar, before the Purusha.
No. It is nothing can be before Purusha avatars.
Okay.
It is part of material nature. So when Krishna glances over the material nature,
Mm-hmm.
Mahat Tattva is produced, not before them.
Oh, no, okay.
So it is all in the material realm, not in the spiritual realm. It is in the material realm.
Material. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if we have to visualize, we can understand like there is a spiritual sky, there is a material sky.
Mm-hmm.
So material sky is covered by this Mahat Tattva. We can see that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure.
Explained it really well.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any other question? Any other comments? Okay, it's already 9:28. I think everyone must be tired by now and hungry. So we can go to, I wanted to also see if we all can sing a bhajan together, but I think I spoke too much today. So I apologize. Next time we'll cover that. Nice bhajan. Govind, you would like to sing Narsimha prayer?
Sure.
Nice, I like it. So Suvratar Shachyut, you are there, all of you?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. So, yep.
Wait, do we need to sing? Wait, what are we doing?
Govind is singing, but I want to make sure that everybody is here. So
Okay, yeah, we're all here.
Yeah, we're
at
here.
least we
Prabhuji.
should repeat in the mute mode. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll repeat, definitely.
And if all of you can switch on your cameras, if it's up to you guys. Okay, Govind, whenever you're ready.
Namaste Nara Singaya Prahlada Daine Hiranyakashipu Raksham Shilatankanakalaye Ito Nrsingo Parato Nrsingo Yato Yamita to Nrsingo Bahe Nrsingo Edahe Nrsingo Narasingamodim Sharanam Prapadim Tava Karakamalabhare Nakam Abhutashingam Dalita Lihenyakashipu Tanu Brindam Keshavadim Da Narahari Rupda Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Nrsinga Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Nrsinga Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Jaya Gurudev 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 Jayo Jaya Gurudev Jayo Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Nitya Gora Haribo 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 Nitya Gora Haribo Nrsimha Bhagwan ki jai Prahlad Maharaj ki jai
Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Govind.
Very ball.
Thank you. Yeah, one quick point on the last verse that we were discussing. It was an important point that when we say Krishna never disconnects us, right? He's not, but it's that we get disconnected from Krishna because we forget him. So what can remind us? What can remind us of Krishna now? We are trying to re-establish this connection. So very important components are devotee association, tilak, kanthimala. When we, our Acharya says, when we wear this kanthimala, we become like a pet dog of Krishna. So that's why this kanthimala is very, very important. We will, this is our commitment. This is how we show to Krishna that we are his pet dog. Now we are his servants. We prove it by wearing kanthimala. Tilak, our devotee association. And what else can remind us of Krishna? So most importantly, Guru, spiritual master. Diksha kale shishya kare atma samarpana. So when we do our atma samarpana, when we surrender completely to Guru and his teachings and the whole Guru Parampara, then they help us in remembering Krishna through their instructions, through the seva they give to us, through the seniors, whoever is representative of our Guru. And that's a practical point of how are just saying that we are trying to reconnect with Krishna is not enough, right? We have to be practical. We have to show by practical actions. So putting tilak every day, making sure kanthimala is always there, regular association of devotees, and abiding to the instructions of Guru Parampara. These are indications of our connection back to Krishna. So just wanted to make sure I complete that portion. Thank you so much for listening. And if anything I would have said which is not correct or not pleasing, I really apologize. Next week, next Friday again, we will meet on the same time and continue with our discussion. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.